Once upon a time, in the parking lot behind an unassuming strip mall on the edge of Maplewood Grove, Jack Westbrook and Ethan Carter huddled beneath a flickering fluorescent lamp. Jack's lanky frame leaned against a rust-spotted sedan, breath visible in the cool night air despite the late hour. At 52, Jack had the practiced calm of a man who'd slipped through more doors than most saw in a lifetime. His eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked constantly toward the row of suburban homes just across the street. Beside him, Ethan's youthful tension showed in every twitch, shoulders hunched, jaw clenched, fingers drumming on the car roof. Jack laid a finger to his lips. Tonight's simple. One house, minimal risk, maximal payoff. You follow my lead, no questions. I handle the lock, you watch the street. He produced a slim lockpick case and flipped it open with a practiced flick. Ethan swallowed hard, nodded once. He glanced at the neat lawns and shuttered windows ahead, homes that belonged to ordinary families, unaware that two shadows plotted beneath their eaves. Despite the adrenaline, something knotted in Ethan's Gouda mixture of excitement and dread. Jack closed the case and slipped it into his jacket. You ready? Without waiting, he faded into the darkness toward the nearest porch, confident as a cat stepping into moonlight. Ethan exhaled and followed, each step punctuated by the distant bark of a dog and the whisper of wind through hedges. Jack crouched by the Mitchells' front door, a solid oak slab with a brass deadbolt. He inserted a slender tension wrench into the keyhole, then slid a pick beside it. Inside, through the narrow gap of the door, a soft orange glow marked a digital clock on the living room mantel, 0213. Ethan froze, breath tight in his throat. The only moving thing was the regular tick of that clock, echoing in the hush. Within 30 seconds, Jack's pick clicked once, then again, and the bolt slid back. He pressed a gloved finger to the door to hold it silent, nodded at Ethan, and eased inside. The door closed behind them with such muted precision that the slight click might have been a mouse scurrying. In the dim light, Jack's eyes adapted instantly. Ethan blinked, trying to chase away the sudden spotlight of adrenaline. The thieves paused at the threshold, scanning for motion. The house smelled faintly of lavender air freshener and new carpet, ordinary smells that now felt ominous. Jack held a hand up. They moved in unison, ghost-like, toward the coffee table where family photos lay face down. A single step at a time, they advanced deeper into the living room, every nerve on fire. The Mitchells' family room was tastefully decorated. Plush cream-colored sofas, abstract art on the walls, and bookshelves lined with leather-bound novels. Jack's gaze flicked to the display cabinet by the window. Behind glass doors, gold necklaces draped over velvet busts. Diamond rings sparkled in neat rows. On a side table, a small wooden box sat slightly ajar, revealing the silver edges of antique coins inside. Ethan's eyes locked on a mahogany jewelry box on the coffee table. He sank to one knee and lifted the lid. Inside were 2 gold bracelets, 3 diamond-encrusted rings, and a stack of crisp $20 bills. With gloved precision, he scooped them into a black pouch. Jack moved to the corner cabinet, pried open the glass door, and extracted 4 gold neck chains and a velvet bag of old coins, some stamped with dates from the 1800s, each looking oddly special under the flashlight's beam. The room felt too still, frozen in the lull before fate. Jack paused, taking in the glittering spoils, then tapped Ethan's shoulder. All here? Good. Now. He let the breath out slowly, as if savoring a fine cigar, a twisted smile flickering across his lips. Jack straightened, hefting the pouch of jewelry like a gambler stacking chips. He placed it on the glass coffee table and pulled a deck of cards from his jacket pocket. Ethan looked up, confusion and panic warring in his eyes. A little game, Jack said, shoving the deck toward Ethan. You in? Ethan shook his head, voice trembling. We should go now, before someone wakes up. Jack's grin was slow, amused. Relax. There's time. Your fear won't fill these bags. A quick hand, that's all. Stakes aren't just money, they're fun. He spread the cards in a perfect fan. Deal. Ethan's chest tightened, but Jack's calm was magnetic. Fear warred with curiosity. He glanced at the pouch. Gold glinted like sunlight. His hands shook as he reached for the cards. Jack poured 2 generous glasses of red wine from a half-unlabeled bottle found on a sideboard. He set them on coasters carved with the Mitchell family crest. Then, with theatrical flair, he dealt 5 cards face down to each of them. And, the center, he piled the gold necklaces, rings, bills, and rare coins in opulent jackpot in the muted living room glow. Ethan drew his first glance. A pair of 8s and a queen of hearts. His pulse hammered against his ribs. Jack sorted his hand with a slow, deliberate precision, revealing a full house 7s over kings. He sipped wine, watched Ethan's fingers fumble the cards. The room seemed to shrink around Ethan. The tick of the clock on the mantel suddenly thunderous. Jack leaned back, voice soft. "Your move." Ethan swallowed, then pushed a single diamond ring into the center. The clink of metal on glass sounded impossibly loud. Jack nodded toward the TV remote on the console. Ethan hesitated, then clicked it. The screen flared to life with the late-night news, a solemn anchor reporting a crime wave in neighboring towns. The droning voice filled the room, drowning out the clock's persistent tick. Jack smiled, taking a sip of wine. There now, they're occupied. Nobody hears a thing. He flipped a card for the flow pace of clubs. 10 of hearts, 3 of spades. Ethan's heart fluttered. His small stack of tokens, rings and coins, sat uncomfortably heavy in the pot. As Jack dealt the turn, he leaned over and whispered, "Steady, kid. Patience is power." Ethan forced a nod, eyes glued to his next card. The TV's glow painted the thieves' faces in bluish tones. Suddenly, a faint creak drifted from the hallway behind them, floorboards flexing under a returning homeowner's weight. Ethan froze mid-breath. Jack's fingers stilled on the cards. For a heartbeat, the entire world held its breath. Then Jack gently clicked the remote off. The screen went dark. Jack pressed a finger to his lips, voice never rising above a whisper. "Stay cool." He rose and straightened his jacket as steps approached the living room threshold. Ethan clenched his fists, white knuckles gripping. The chair's edge. The door swung open, and Dave Mitchell stood there, briefcase in hand, jaw slack at the sight of 2 strangers poised at his poker table. Jack rose slowly, setting his wine glass down as though on ceremony. He offered Dave a polite nod. "Dave, perfect timing. You're just in time for the final hand." Ethan felt as though the floor had dropped away. Dave's face flickered from confusion to anger. "Who the hell are you? Get out of my house." Jack's smile remained courteous. "You invited us. Don't you remember? We discussed a midnight wager weeks ago. You backed out, but we came anyway. Now you want to lie to the police?" Dave shook his head, fumbling for words. Ethan's mind reeled. How could Jack spin this? In that charged moment, distant sirens wailed and headlights pulsed through curtained windows. Dave dropped his phone in shock. Jack's grin deepened. "Go on, call them. Officer Walker knows us good lads, just here for a friendly game." Ethan caught his breath as Dave's shoulders drooped in reluctant defeat. He pulled out his phone but did not dial. Instead, he sank onto the sofa, defeated and pale. Jack patted Ethan's shoulder, then strode to the front door to greet the arriving officer. Officer James Walker, badge gleaming, stepped into the warm foyer. He surveyed the tableau. 2 well-dressed strangers, cards on the table, jewelry piled like casino chips. Dave rose, pointing a trembling finger. Jack held up his hands, voice calm as river water. "Jimmy, good to see you. You remember our friendly poker nights at my old place? Dave here insisted on hosting tonight. Had an open invitation, one that apparently slipped his mind." He produced a business card from his pocket. Jack Westbrook Maplewood Social Club. Walker raised an eyebrow, glanced at Dave's crest embossed, playing cards on the table, then at Jack's confident smile. After a long moment, he shook his head. "Looks like a misunderstanding. Gentlemen, I'll leave you to finish your game." Dave whispered an apology to the officer as Jack and Ethan gathered their chips. Jack and Ethan slipped past Walker into the hallway, pouches of jewelry strapped inside their jackets. The front door closed softly behind them, the ticking clock the only witness. Outside, the night air was crisp, the scent of freshly cut grass, a stark contrast to the stale tension inside. Ethan exhaled, adrenaline still racing. Jack placed a consoling hand on his shoulder. "You did fine. Stay calm next time." He quietly locked the door with a key Jack had found. Then they melted into the shadowy street. In Jack's unmarked white van, they sat on folding seats beneath a single dome light. Jack unlaced his pouch and tipped the contents onto a cloth. Stacks of crisp bills, shining gold necklaces, diamond rings, and the special old coins. The coins glinted in the harsh glare, each stamped with dates dating back over a century. Ethan's earlier fear faded into exhilaration as he scooped up coins in both hands. "That's incredible." Jack laid out each item carefully. Proof that a cool head and a clever story can net you more than guns or brute force. He pocketed the rarest coin, turning it over with a satisfied grin. Despite the bounty, Ethan's excitement wavered. He fingered a diamond ring, heart sinking. The image of Dave's astonished face flickered through his mind. "Jack, do you ever feel bad?" Jack paused, expression shifting to something more somber. "Sometimes. The thrill fades, but the cost, that lingers." He tapped his temple. "We craft lies, twist truth. It works, until it doesn't." He looked at Ethan with a steely kindness. "Remember, tricks solve problems, but they build chains around your own soul." Ethan nodded, weighing the coin in his palm as if it carried the weight of every lie he'd told. Dawn broke over Maplewood Grove as the van rolled onto the highway. Light spilled across glistening dew on lawns. Ethan stared out the window, clutching one of the old coins. Beside him, Jack watched the sunrise, face unreadable. The world seemed innocent once more. The laundry hung on backyard lines, paper boys tossing morning editions, birds greeting the new day. Yet for two men in the back of a stolen goods van, the day carried the shadow of last night's choices. Jack Westbrook continued on his path of cunning and confidence, but each triumph rang hollow against the echo of Dave Mitchell's disbelief. Ethan Carter, unsettled by guilt, eventually turned away from the life of petty crime and sought honest work, determined that his hands would build rather than take. Both learned that cleverness and a steady nerve could navigate immediate dangers, but only honesty and integrity yield a peace that no stolen ring can bring. Moral of the story: a calm mind and quick wit can avert crisis, but lasting success grows from truth, hard work, and the courage to face consequences, because even the shiniest spoils lose their luster when stained by lies.